Nadeco expect Tinubu reject 2023 presidential election result. Now the news info. The National Democratic Coalition United States chapter Nadeco USA has announced the expulsion of Nigeria President-elect Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu for allegedly emerging through what they describe as a fraudulent electoral process. Nadeco USA gave the indication in a statement over the weekend and signed by the Executive Director Leo Eku Esquire, disclosing that the expulsion would be formalized at an international press conference scheduled for tomorrow, Wednesday, at the National Press Club in Washington, D.C. It said it would not tolerate electoral fraud just because Tinubu, candidate of the ruling All Progressive Congress (APC), was a founding member of Nadeco and a steward of Nadeco USA. The group further disclosed that it has initiated a move to interrogate the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) servers and bimodal voters accreditation system (BVAS), a machine used for the February 25th, 2023 presidential election in Nigeria with a view to extracting the original votes cast. It also disclosed that it will approach the United States Congress to commence the introduction of non-binding resolution calling on the U.S. administration not to recognize the product of the election, stressing that it is the product of a poisonous tree. The statement read, in part, we intend to hand out press kits containing, among other things, a synoptic 10-minute video highlighting the major flaws in the process just concluded. Nadeco will, at the Congress, formally severs its relationship with Tinubu as a former founding member of both Nadeco Nigeria and Nadeco USA for its participation in the worst electoral fraud in Nigeria's recent history. Remember, Nadeco fought Abacha as the military dictator who controlled the will of the Nigerian people in 1993. Exactly 30 years later, in 2023, Nadeco is fighting the same dictatorship, but only this time a much more dangerous civilian dictatorship, and mostly perpetuated by one of those who were in the trenches to fight Abacha. Nadeco will not look the other way simply because the fraud was perpetuated by one of its founding members. After the conference, we intend to approach the U.S. Congress to commence the introduction of non-binding resolution calling on the U.S. administration not to recognize the product of the election. It is the product of poisonous tree, not a small thing. Therefore, my listeners out there, what should be your take on the short hand? Nadeco expect Tinubu reject 2023 presidential election results. Please react to that. If as you do so, believe we do justice to every of your reactions. We talk about the various opinion. They already popping from the comment section. The first one is from a phone number. I say Nadeco is non-granted in Nigeria. Their action is born out of hatred. Say they should be ashamed of themselves. They all collected money from Abacha to Kia MQ Abiola. God is watching. Then from Gist, he say PC and Tinubu ring 2023 election in Nigeria is also born out of their hatred for Nigerians' development. APC and Tinubu should be ashamed of themselves. INEC collected money from Tinubu to kill democracy in Nigeria. God is watching. Then from Guess, so by implication, Tinubu was among people that collected money from Abacha to kill Abiola because he was a strong Nadeco member when Abiola was killed. Okay. Then from Innocent Peter, he said let him photocopy the certificate of return and hang in his city room and preserve the original to be returned in less than no time, for there is no way possible that he can get away with this. Don't be smart, you know, the truth, you over clear. Then from Avatar, you say which Nadeco? Biafra Nadeco. I am sure the man is an hyper fake. This one is just enemy of progress. You don't want the betterment of this country. election that was conducted that was so very clear that they ring the election. Now you want cover up. How many you want cover up? The blunder, they are just too much. How many court go fit cover up? How many judges go fit cover up? I don't see. I'm not seeing Tinubu's going scot free. I be a next Shema. I'm not seeing them. Then from guess, he said this struggle is not Igbo matter. Yoruba people should know this fact. We Nigerians don't need Tinubu. We don't fraudulent or we why you mago not be small mago. In fact, all these people and the wicked, I think all this now we are wrapping it. Please endeavor to subscribe to the channel and also ensure that you share this very news to social media platforms. As you do so, believe the Almighty God will do the very news for your life. Bye bye.